Hey everybody, it's the Redstone Wizard here again, bringing you another Redstone tutorial. This time, we've got a furnace array. Yeah, this is my own design for a furnace array. I took a couple of concepts from other designs and meshed them and came up with this. Yeah, this is actually two separate furnace arrays. The nice thing about this one, this style, is it is completely expandable after you build it. Most furnace arrays, once you build it, you're locked in until you repair it. Yeah, until you take certain parts down, rebuild it. Makes it a lot more of a hassle. Now, let's take a quick look at it. Now, we're using a single hopper minecart to fill all of the furnaces with one item. Same thing with the fuel source. We're using a single hopper minecart, and the fuel source for this is sticks. If you want to use a more efficient fuel source, go ahead. Sticks work out pretty well because at two sticks per item. So they're back, good to go. Same thing with this. This one is using sticks, even though there's no sticks in there. If I go down here, I got one stick. And the furnaces are completely full. Over here, I've got my I'm full of sticks here, and there's ones missing here. We'll fill that up in a moment. But this one over here, we can actually, it's actually being pulled out by hoppers. This one is being pulled out by a hopper minecart. Either design still works, and the furnace array itself is completely tileable. You've got the brain. The brain is pretty much the same concept here, just modified to make it fit within a certain footprint, more of a certain area. Because I decided, and the big thing is that it is a loop. Now, it's honestly, out of all the furnace arrays, this is probably the only one that you can expand afterwards and modify with very little trouble, because we got simple little just setup. So, what do you say? Let's get to building this thing. Okay, guys, I'm back, and I forgot to show you guys one little thing. How this thing operates. So let's come over here. We'll throw the stack in. Creates a pulse. Starts up this clock up here. At least it should. We're missing a torch here. So we'll just put the torch there. Wigging out, but that's because I just placed the torch. Let's just break that and replace it. It's going to pulse it, send it off, and as items needed, this one's going to just say, hey, I need fuel. And then it's going to come back, say, hey, I still have items in it, and it's going to start the clock again. The whole point behind this timer is to allow for items to be able to get how many you need, plus a little more. Eventually, if you fill up, if this ends up getting filled up, it will end up going and taking all of it. So let's just grab a bunch of iron real fast. We'll let this run. First one will always activate the system. It activates the system two ways. One allows the items to process. And let's just pop down here. As you can see, we're getting more items than we need. We're getting actually 32 per. Which is not bad, because this is a 32 furnace array and we want to be able to hold on to more items than we're actually putting out. And see, we just increased by 2. The whole point is emptying this out as fast as possible and still being able to say, hey, I've got full items. This one works the same way, except it's a lot more furnaces, so we have to have a lot more delay. So let's head on over here. Let me just clear my inventory real fast. And in the shulker box is everything we need to build the brain for the system. Personally, the fuel is up to you. The furnace setup is up to you. Basically, this is the basic one. This is just something that I stole from Tango Tech with his furnace array. It's a nice furnace array, but it doesn't work for Bedrock, but this part does. And I like this setup here. Hopper, pulling a comparator, with the block powering this hopper, which prevents any more fuel from going in. It holds stack plus 1, whatever you want. So, to build the brain, what we need is at least 5 hoppers, 1 dropper, at least 2 powered rails, 1 detector rail, 6 comparators, 3 repeaters, 3 rails, 5 repeaters, a double chest, 6. Bring a bunch of redstone, 2 observers, 6 torches, 2 sticky pistons. Bring a bunch of blocks to build with, a hopper minecart for your unloading it into the furnace, and just a bunch of random items. So let's take all of this out. And we will break the box. So, first things first, we need to determine right where we're going to put our furnaces. So, build your furnace array first. Build how many furnaces you want first. Okay, so let's say I've got my furnaces built, and I'm doing a straight line of 32, just like that one over there. First thing we want to do is create how the minecarts are going to travel. I'm extending that out by 1 because we're going to place a rail here, rail here. We're going to get our powered rails. Like I said, we need at least 2. So 1 there and 1 there at least. But I'm going to continue these with there. We'll take another normal rail, put it here, and we'll take our detector rail and put it here. This right here will determine if the minecart has anything in it. If it does, it's going to start the top part of the clock of the system that's going to be pushing the minecart back out. This thing right here. So, first thing we want to do is place our chest. You can place it either. You need at least 1 chest here. If you need to add a little more space that way, put it over on this side. If you don't, because it's a straight line, if it's a straight line, put it over here. Either way works. Get our blocks. We're going to put a block there and a block there. We don't need that one anymore because it is pointless. And we're going to put a block up here. In here, we are going to put our comparator. This comparator just says, hey, I've got stuff in here. That's it. I don't recommend putting your minecart in just yet. That should be the last thing you do. But we don't need the chest anymore. We don't need the rails anymore. So we're going to take this, this, this. We're going to put the sticks up here, take you. And then we're going to take our dropper and a hopper and create a hopper dropper monostable circuit. Which means every time that an item goes in here, if there's still items in here, it's not going to do anything. We're going to take a random item and stick it in there. Doesn't matter what it is. And we're going to take a comparator output from there. Coming over here, we're going to put a block out with a comparator output, a block next to it, and a block in front of that. We can break that. It's unneeded. And we're going to take a repeater and place it on 4 ticks. So, now from here, we need to put a block up. And we need to go and create a pulse extender. Now, I didn't come up with this pulse extender. I can't remember who it did, but it is quite brilliant, and it only can do a stack plus 63 items. 4 stacks plus 63. So it's not full, but you can have it pretty close. So we're going to place a comparator coming out of this. We're just, because I am super lazy, we're going to place a hopper going into that and a hopper going into that one. Leave that block there. Let's put the power rails up there and grab our torches. We're going to place a torch here and a torch here. We'll put our dropper up and grab our dust. Dust and dust. Now this is the pulse extender. Quite simple, quite easy. Now, this part right here, you can rotate, you can adjust according to however you need it. If you have the line coming right here, you can't have it. That's why this one is rotated the way it is. That's why it looks longer. And this one is not. If I sent it right here, it would have been fine. I could have used this style. This one right here. So, we need to create the pulse, we need to create the activation, but we don't want it when it activates on both of them. So what we're going to do is create a 2x2 area with the block up in front of the torch. We're going to place a repeater and then a comparator with the dust. Now, because of how this is, we're going to set a block here, come down and set a block. We're going to set a 4-tick repeater on this bottom one and a dust on this one. Then we're going to place a piston here and an observer on the face going towards the repeater. Now what this is going to do is, while these items are filtering in, this repeater is going to push out. And when they are done, when the items completely left this, it's going to close it and activate the rest of the system. This is our start. This is the basic start-stop of it. All we have to do is determine how many items we want, so let's go with 4. Okay, 4 items. There we go. This one, like I said, this is variable. You can add and subtract items as you need it. We'll place a torch on top. We'll get our building blocks. Let's just switch it up with black concrete, and place the torch on top of the red, place a block on top of the torch, and on the side going towards the back, we'll place another block. We'll place a block on top of that, one going there, one going here. We're going to go up one. We're just going to place another one right here just to place a hopper, break, hopper, comparator, torch, torch, dust, dust. There we go. Now, again, this is up to you. If you want to put this on this side like I have them over here, that's okay. That's fine. That works. Whatever works. That's the big thing. And then we're going to do the same thing we did down there, right there, up here. We are going to put a block down, block over, And we're going to determine where we want our piston. So we can actually take and put a repeater here, a comparator here, and if we want our piston over here or over here, we place the dust here. If we want it over on this side, we place the dust here and a block up there. I'm going to place it over here. I don't need that block anymore. Or even if you want to just stick it under here like I am right now, you can. Again, we want this to pulse at the end of it. So we're going to place an observer, a block on its face. We're going to go down one. We want to power this, so let's just place a block there. And we'll place a block here, and a block here. We don't want anything interfering with this. So we're just going to place a repeater, set that to 4 ticks because of how observers are, and we'll just dust the rest of that up. Come up here and add the amount that you want. I'm going to go 4 again. And as this thing just cycles through, it's going to load, send off, check, and see if it is done. If it's done, it's not going to fire it off again. This bottom one gets fired off only once, and only when items get sent into it. So we'll take our hopper, minecart, place it there, and I'm just going to just power that right there, and you get your rails, the rest of your rails. I recommend doing one side first, go all the way as far as you want, then when you're going to loop back around, just continue going. Because what we don't want is this. Because if we do this, we can place one here. And that's how the rails are. Of course, if I place them this way, I can place one there and one there, one there. I can place them side by side, going back and forth, depending on the direction you're going. But once this is set, all you have to do is just throw items in. It'll load, and as soon as it has enough, it's going to fire. The first time is designed just to say, hey, I have, okay, it has a good start. That's all that one is. It has a good start. This is maintain, maybe even slight increase, but you don't want to wait too long. So now we'll take this, break that, take this, and I'm going to just create a quick and I'll just set you up here, place the furnace, and I'm going to take and put 1, 2, 3 items in because, well, it's not that big of a deal because as soon as it checks, it does it and starts this cycle again, which then launches it. And that's the whole cycle. This is the whole important part. Now, if you guys really want to build this, build the furnace array. It is completely tileable, and let me get just the one thing that I do need left is a furnace. So however you're going to pull your items out, I do actually recommend the hoppers underneath because it's constant pull. It doesn't require as much rails. This was more of a show you that it can be done. But get your furnace, get your collection system, however you're going to have it, put it down. I'm not going to do the full thing because, like I said, this is completely tileable. Furnace, hopper going in the front, hopper going in the back. We'll place the black concrete here. Comparator coming out. Lock in front of the comparator. And then we will get our chests on top of the hopper and on top of the comparator. And a hopper going in there. Now, run rails on here and run rails on here, or run hopper line on here, run hopper line on here, however you want to do it. This one is rail, so I recommend running a rail on top. This one, run a rail on top like I did over here. And as you can see, it's still going. Well, the fuel is. And I just have, just to make sure that everyone says I need fuel. This thing says, okay, when this hopper has one item in it, the power goes there. Pulling out any of these, pulling down any of these. If these get pushed out, that means this is getting fuel. It needs fuel. And it's a constant thing until they all get as much fuel as they need. See, they know when they need a lot of fuel, it's just going to keep going. And high dense smelting, you need better fuel than sticks. Small, you could use sticks. It'll be a waste to use coal, but sometimes with a charcoal farm, it'll work. But yeah, so here's the brain for the furnace array that I built. Probably could be a little more compact. I can probably shift a few things here and there to shrink it down. But you guys, hope you guys enjoy the video. This is the Redstone Wizard. Enjoy building.